Hello, everybody. Welcome to Game Day Squads, Aussie Rules live show. We are here to preview the round that is going to be. There is no footy tonight, but that's okay because we have we have all of our squad decisions to make, and we're going to go game by game. We're going to break it down and help you all get game day ready. So, with that being said, I'm here with my trusty co-host and good friend in Cal today to chop it all up, mate. Are you ready to dive into this live and talk some fantasy footy?
Don't know how trusty I am today. It's my fault we're running a few minutes late and I'm still in shambles trying to get myself here set up. But you know how I was just messaging Tom there before just to let everyone know. I couldn't find my headphones. I'm running around like crazy. I'm running late. Believe it or not, they were just sitting right behind my laptop the whole time. So all that running around, Tom, for nothing. So I can relax now. Hopefully I sound good and we can actually talk about some fantasy sports. So yeah, because a lot of exciting things to talk about, starting with those sexy things you've got up on screen right now.
Yes, they are looking very, very mighty fine. I can't wait to talk about those in a little bit. Maybe we will just leave a little bit of suspense and talk about it properly later because I know we're going to have a section there where we can dive into what those are, what it means, and how maybe you can get your hands on one if you're lucky enough. So let's get into it, Cal. I'm going to kick us off this week.
Ooh.
Kickoff question, but it's not a question. I decided, why don't we do something a little bit different? Why don't we do a kickoff activity? Let's do some footy numbers.
Yes.
I remember this came out and we had a crack at it. This is before there was a scale of hardness, let's say, and we were quite shocking. And this is our redemption. This is our time where we can come here, we can redeem ourselves and show that, maybe we do know a little bit about footy. So
we did terrible. From memory, I was going to say, did I get past two? I don't think we did right. I think we had I think we said if one of us got one of them, we'd have given out something to everyone. I don't think I got one. I think maybe you got one at the end. We were pretty poor at it.
We were. But it's time to redeem ourselves. So just to get the brain activated, get going, get talking about footy, I thought this would be the perfect thing to do. Shout out to Hef from the Keeper League. He's made this. It is so much fun. If you haven't, it's literally footynumbers.com. Chuck it in your browser. Give it a go as well. I can tell you, you'll sit here for a lot longer than you think, having a crack at trying to guess all these jersey numbers. But Cal, why don't you start it? I'm going to hit click generate, new player, and you're going to tell me and just take it away from there. Show everyone how it's done.
Oh, I don't know if show everyone how it's done is the right way to phrase it. But yeah, let's hit it. I'm trying to get one. If I get one here, I'll be pretty happy. I'm pretty awful at these. 23, Jesse Hogan.
It would be.
Yes.
No,
PB.
PB?
PB. 26. Ooh. I don't know. I thought Stewart for some reason, but I don't think that's him. I don't know. 26.
Come on. Any Geelong name. Why don't we just throw one out there? We've got 17 seconds.
Grind Myers. I actually have no idea what number he is. He's not 26, but...
I'm just going to put it in.
Oh,
I knew I wasn't correct.
Nah. Needed to see the red screen for me. No good.
Alrighty. Let me have a crack here.
One to beat. Oh, that's maybe the hottest player in all of fantasy sports right now. Adam Treloar. Number one. That's an easy one. I got an easy one. Come on, can you beat me? Oh, I think I know who that is.
Newman's 14. Oh, this has stumped me, and this shouldn't. Is it
big boy Harry? Of course, it's Harry, who is back this week after his concussions. Let's see if he slots into our squad. There we go. We haven't done very well at it, but I think hopefully we do a little bit better. We're saving our luck for something a bit later on. Hey, I heard we're going to spice up the pack openings this week again with those spicy things we've got.
Absolutely, man. I can't believe. You know why I got that wrong? Is because I don't like watching Carlton play. In all honesty, I have some good friends who are Carlton fans, and they just give me stick all the time. So it's like one of those teams in the back of my mind. I'm just like, oh,
friends have ruined them for you. Yeah, no, yes. I feel that. I feel like that. I feel like that with the Sydney Swans, mate. Don't worry.
Bit stiff, Cal. Let's get into it. Game one, mate. We're going to talk about the opening game, of course. It's going to be the Western Bulldogs taking on the Melbourne Demons. Now, Big Gawn is back. That would be the big news out of this one. I'm sure, a lot of people are going to have their eyes on Maxi Gawn this round. It's going to be a big battle with old Tingles in the middle. I guess a notable out would be Trent Rivers. He's been streamed through a lot of defenses at the moment. He's been omitted, so Rivers will not be an option. So make sure you take him out of your squads if you do have him. But I might give it to you. You have loaded up on this game. You are ready for some Friday night magic. Tell me why.
Yeah, starting off with the definitely the better of the two Friday night games here. Still don't know how that has happened. We'll touch on the other one in a second. Treloar, I mentioned when you got his number there in 40 numbers, he's the hottest player in the comp right now, and you'd be silly not to be running around with him. And I just really love that matchup. And there you go, the numbers support it there on the matrix. It is the number one matchup over the last 5 rounds for mids to score against. So for me, it wasn't a question of do I play Bont or do I play Treloar? It's how high do I go on both of them. So I want Treloar in there just because he's been absolutely on fire at the moment. But I've put the salary on Bont this week because I think more people will be leaning Treloar. And when you see my squad at the end, I've done some weird things. This is maybe looking at my squad at the end. This is definitely the weirdest I've felt about it going into a round. I don't love it, but I love it from the sense that there's a lot of Zags in there. So, and I've definitely tried a few strategies. Let's see if you pick that. Let's see if you've picked up what I've done as we go through game by game. But yeah, those midfielders in there. Ed Richards down back, really solid, really nice matchup against the Melbourne as well, particularly if he does run through the middle. And I have gone Gawn. So he was back the week before. So this is his second game back. And he's done enough for me to pick him because I don't like picking him. You don't like pick anyone coming off an injury first week back, but I've gone with him this week. He was the best player in the competition until he went down fantasy wise. So I'm backing him to touch up your boy Tingles and show why he got an all-star card and Tim English did not. So,
hey, everyone doesn't know that. Spoilers.
Hey, everyone does know it. It's posted.
Yeah, you know what? They should. They should. Yeah, they do know that.
If you don't know, now you know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you had to rub it in, didn't you? You had to let me know.
Hey,
man, English gang, we've taken a big L, right?
A big L, huge L. Because I do believe if you actually go back to the first slide, it was not Tim English who was on the front screen. It was your boy Rowan Marshall who picked up the second spot. Just snuck in over Cherry, I heard. There were a few people in Discord today saying Cherry was robbed.
Cherry robbed.
Cherry robbed. It was close though. I would have loved to see a Cherry All-Star. So, but Auntie Booger's got a question for you because you have gone Treloar, so you've picked between the two, so maybe you can help her. Treloar or Bont? Treloar reliable and Bont on and off. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a good shout, firstly. I'm just going with Treloar being reliable. And if there's going to be any attention in this game, there won't be. I don't see a tag, but if there is going to be, it's going to go to Bont. Bont definitely has a higher ceiling, though. He's just one of those players that it seems like when he has a bad matchup, he'll play better. Almost. Like you'll count him out and then he'll drop 150, 160. So I'm going the safe bet. I'm playing it a little bit vanilla. But as you mentioned, Treloar is just playing at such an elite level. I just couldn't warrant not having him in my squad. And unlike yourself, I'm putting a silver on him. And honestly, if I had a gold, I would probably consider putting a gold on him as well. This is such a fantastic matchup for him. I see him coming out as being one of the top 2 scorers. And the only other person that could knock it off is the big bad Bont. But I'm putting my faith into Treloar to take it out.
Yeah, that's fair. He's been phenomenal. 144, 174, and 146 for his last 3 weeks. So, yeah, not a bad floor there. Anyone else in particular you want to talk about in this game?
Not really. Oliver had a pretty good game last week. I know he's been a name that hasn't been thrown around a lot on the show. And last year he was thrown around a lot.
It makes me sad when we throw his name.
Yeah, I know. Bailey Dale, both given the skip this round. Look, the matchup matrix aren't saying it's a favourable one. And honestly, if you're going to start a Bulldogs defender, I think it's Ed Richards' time. He's going to finish this year strong. He's got that midfield role locked up. So I'm really leaning towards Ed Richards if I'm picking between those two. So look, if you don't have Richards, you want to play a bit of a maybe outside pick. Bailey Dale has had a stellar season, but I have seen his numbers sort of just drop off slightly, and I'm looking at the upside play in Ed Richards to go pretty bonkers. I think he's going 2 games over 130 fantasy points back to back. So, mate,
Yeah,
I want all that.
137, 155. So,
So,
and Dale's been pretty solid, right? He's hovered around the 100, but like you said, you want that upside there with Richards, and he definitely has that.
absolutely, man. Couldn't agree more. But other than that, mate, I think we have covered this game quite well. Let's move it on.
Yeah, let's
Game
do.
number 2. And as you mentioned, the second game of Friday night.
I don't like
doesn't
it.
start as early as the other one, but this will be number 2. Mate, no Noah Anderson from you. Now,
Yeah.
let me quickly ask, because this is something that, although I know I've put up a post and said Noah Anderson plays much better at home, you have been very adamant that if someone's playing West Coast, load up on their midfielders. You've followed this strategy for the past couple of weeks. Why now do you avoid that and bench Noah Anderson?
I'll give you a clue.
Okay.
And it's the fact I'm playing Waterman. Does that
Okay.
spoil it? Does that tell you what I'm thinking?
I don't know, does it?
I think the Suns get rolled. I think after losing to the Lions, they can't make finals now, and I think this. I could easily see West Coast flogging them, being same old Suns in the media. That cycle goes on. I'm for the narrative in this game, so I actually, Kerm, I hope you're not listening. I hope you're in bed, and I hope you don't watch this back. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be pretty, and I actually think West Coast are going to have a really good game. So I think Waterman's going to get up the ground, get off the chain, kick a few goals, and I don't want any part of Noah Anderson away from home, because you've showed me the numbers. You're the one that did the Twitter post about it, comparing them all. I'm trying to listen to you, and then you're testing me. So
I'm testing you.
Yeah. But that's what I think. You've gone straight back to Duggan, who's straight back into the squad. Tasty matchup. Is that why?
I have, yeah. Tasty matchup. Literally couldn't have said it better. Look, he's not coming back off an injury. He's coming back off a concussion. Now, that didn't play well for Toronto last week. So, honestly, I think I should be proceeding with a little bit more caution, because I'm a little bit scarred off the Toronto game and him having to be subbed out early. But Toronto, Duggan, they play a very different game. And I'm thinking it's a little bit safer of a play with Duggan. He doesn't have as much contact. You know, he likes those cheapies. He should be getting all the kicking duties.
Loves his cheapies. Second only to Ryan out there in the West.
So, mate, I just think, look, it's a little bit of a high risk play, but maybe it's a pod play that I'm making this round. And if it plays off, the matchup says it's great. He's had a really good season and he's due a really good game. You know, he hasn't been at his elite level that he started off at, or was in that mid chunk of the season, but I'm backing him in here, mate. I'm putting my faith into Duggan. And hopefully, as you said, it's a competitive game, and that will help him a long way in getting a good score.
Yeah, definitely. I did look at the matchup, but I went, nah, my rule, can't play him first week off. I've done some wild things down back. You're going to love them. But they're at the expense of Duggan into my squad. But I see the reason for it.
Okay, fair enough. I hear you. But, mate, I'm going Noah Anderson. I'm backing him in. I know, as I said, the numbers don't indicate that he's going to have a fantastic game, but I think he is. I'm putting my faith in him. And then, of course, Sam Flanders. We didn't even need to talk about Sam Flanders. He's just so good. He's having such a fantastic season. You just can't not start him.
I'm really happy he got his All-Star card. I think that'd be one I'd like to get. I think he's going to go into the midfield next year. So it'll be a shame. It will be a question. See, will people be playing him if you do get a Sam Flanders card? But I don't know. It's just nice to see. It's nice to see someone in Suns colours get an All-Star. So
yeah, it is actually. It is nice to see. The Suns are winning somehow, just not on or making the finals and not on the footy field. But they are winning in fantasy. They've got some good players. Sam Flanders will be the top of that list of good players. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Mate, let's go on. Let's get into game 3. And I might let you start it off again, because you have the big dog, the 2023 All-Star, Harry Sheezel.
No, keep looking, because there's something else that's going to scream.
No, I've seen it.
We'll
talk about that after.
Fine, I'll start with Sheasel. If I have to, he's pretty good at football, this old Harry Sheasel. Pretty happy I got one of his All-Stars. No surprise he's going to be getting another All-Star, and they're available again. Yeah, he's just been on fire. He's matchup proof. He is going to run around, and I reckon he could have a huge game. So I'm not surprised you've gone the gold on him there.
Yep.
Outside of saying he's great, and I'm glad I've got his All-Star for the next 10 years, do you want to add anything to the Harry Sheasel conversation this week?
Look, form, and also I'm looking at him personally as a midfielder. I'm not really looking at him as a defender. He might spend a little bit of time there, but I think he's going to play predominantly mid. And in a matchup where I think North should dominate in this one, Harry Sheasel's going to be the guy that gets them going. He's going to get his hands on the ball a lot. So that's why I've loaded up with a gold. It's been a while since I've done that for old Sheasel, but I think now is the perfect week to do so.
Can I throw a curveball at you?
Absolutely.
Sneaky tankathon game. And by sneaky, it's not very sneaky at all, because the loser of this game probably walks away with the first pick in the draft.
Oh, and you know how you know how North like to approach that.
Yeah, well, Richmond have had their fair share of these games as well. So yeah, be wild to see. I think Richmond went out and added Taranto and added Hopper, and then next year finished last. 2 years later. But yeah, anyway, I'm just saying there could be some crazy things happening in this game, and one of those things could be, and I actually think one of those things is a Dan Rioli game, and I hope
legacy game.
I hope that I play him in my squad after you played him and you talked him up all preseason. You rode with him and you did nothing but destroy your squad. I'm going to roll him out this week. I love the matchup. And I hope he goes massive. And I've got him there as a silver, not even a bronze. I've got the silver with him this week as my huge podge down back. He's in pretty good form, Dan Rioli. I know you've got all his cards, so I'm sure you're checking on them all the time.
Yes,
96 last week, but before that, 137, 104. So he's capable of a big game. And if I could get a big Dan Rioli game against a North that might want to lose the game, you never know. Could be
You're liking it? Oh man, it's a tough call, but I sort of hear you.
I'm at the point in this season where I've got to do some crazy things because the seasonal is gone. I'm not getting another prize card this year unless everyone falls over. So I'm going to do some wild things to try and get some of those round wins. And I think Dan Rioli in my squad is one of those, fits that criteria.
Ooh, Dan Rioli legacy game, man. That is wow. If it pays off, I'm going to be so mad. I can't lie.
That's part of the reason I'm doing it. I just know how mad you're going to be about it. But I want to talk about Cherry because he is clearly in some awesome form.
Yeah,
but
definitely is.
But big asterisk, the big Nank is back this week.
He's back.
Did that play into your mind, Nank, or you just said Cherry's in that good of a run of form? I actually don't care that he's going up against Nank.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. Cherry's just that good. I just think he's so mobile and he gets a lot of tackles. He gets a lot of kicks and he just wins a lot of hitouts. And he doesn't need to do what he's been doing in terms of hitouts recently because what did he win last week? Like
171.
54 hitouts though he won. That's just 54 extra points on top. I don't think he needs that this week. I think he's a really safe play. The form, everything is just screaming to me.
He's not going to get 54 against Nank this week, so I think that was obviously crazy. Do you know what I do love about him?
Hit me.
The headgear. You can never miss him. He's got the headgear on. You're like, where's my big boy? There he is. And I love that in fantasy when you just can look up on the screen and you can just know your players. It's like Connor Rosie and Butters. They wear their nice shiny boots. You can pick him out nice and easy. Cherry with the headgear, he fits that criteria. So I'd almost play him just for that.
Nice. Okay. Well, mate, why don't you talk to me about Will Powell? Tom Powell. Not Will Powell. Is he back?
Will Powell.
In your squad?
He's back in my squad. Not Will Powell, definitely Tom Powell. He had a good week last week. And again, I think this is going to be a weird game. So I've kind of hedged it either way with the Rioli one. 139 was back in the middle, getting a ton of football. And I just think there's the upside there for him. Again, coaches like yourself are not going to be playing him because before 139, he went 46, 73, 93, 81, 68, 50, 84, 81. Like there is nothing there that screams that Tom Powell is a play. But again, I'm trying to do something a little bit different this week, trying to change it up a bit. And I see they've got Wardlaw out and Shields is out. So, I just think a bit of midfield time for him this week and another big score because when he gets the opportunity, he scores well. And it's the upside I'm playing for him there.
Absolutely. And I totally agree. I think, he's going to be playing in the midfield. We know that. Richmond's such a good midfield matchup. So I'm all in on that play. And Auntie Booger, it is correct. But look, even despite that, Cherry has been playing just fantastic overall. So I understand like the 1 week, but if we go look at his couple past rounds, like 171, 143, 107, 134, 141. So there's only really one bad, if you want to call it, game in 107, and everything else is a massive ton up. So I'm backing him in.
I do love the no ruck contest. It even got me thinking about big Riley O'Brien this week. I'm like, is it Riley O'Brien week? Just for the but then Reece Stanley's back in. So unfortunately I didn't have to my thought process stopped there, but we'll get onto that game in a second, I'm sure.
Mate, absolutely. But why don't we get on to our all-star squad? Here, Cal, I have assembled the best of the best for the season so far. Here are all the players that made it into our all-star squad.
Not quite. So we've had a breakdown here. So we actually had all the cards designed. We had the pool all cut, and we've done it since. So this was our lack of communication before the
this
show.
This is all it.
No, this is not it. Or have you already done it?
Mate, this is the squad. The squadron is here.
Have you done the work with? Oh, there you go. You could ignore me. I'm talking gibberish then. You've already fixed it up. This is the squad. I was going to say,
Wanganeen Miller. All our defenders along the top.
I was going to say, Wanganeen Miller did not make it. And then, yes, he absolutely did. I want to play a few games with you here, if you're ready, because first of all, I'm really happy with how they all look together. Congrats to our marketing team for putting all them. I'm pretty stoked with it. I want to play a few games. First of all, who was the biggest surprise when you looked there and you're like, the How Did He Get There award? Did he get it? Brian Myers?
Yeah. Like, he deserves it, don't get me wrong, but he just had such a, bad portion of the season that I thought he would fall out, but he's lucky he's in a very, let's call it, weak forward class.
Yeah, that's fair. It's fair.
What about yours? Surprise?
Jai Caldwell.
No, but he's been killing it.
Yeah, but how did he get there at the start of the year? I was sitting there. If you told me that we'd get to the end of the year that Jai Caldwell would have an all-star, I'd probably start with the word who. But no, he's definitely been in everyone's squad since. So there's a few good ones in there. Danaher, if you told me Danaher had snuck in. Even Zorko was on the verge of retiring. He's snuck himself into an all-star card. And Nick Martin as well, somehow outscoring Merritt, and those two boys both getting a card. I'd love an all-star Merritt, which is going to be my second question to you. If you're looking at all the players there, if you got to pick one you could add to your squad today, who would you pick and why?
Give me that updated Goulden, baby.
Another. You want two Gouldens. What would you do?
I just look at them both and how beautiful they are.
Make it a rule where you can play two all-stars of the same player. Just have a midfield of Gouldens.
That would be silly. But if I wasn't going to go Goulden, I actually think it's Martin, due to the potential that he could be a defender next year. And with such a high score and high average, him as a defender, that's going to be a naughty, naughty all-star card to have in your squad. So that would be my pick. I'm with you there.
Yeah, nice. I am pretty excited about them. I think we've got something with them later on. If you haven't seen, all the information should be out on our socials and stuff. But yeah,
I got one more for you before we move on.
Oh, sorry. I'm trying to go too quick.
Who missed the all-star squad that you thought would be a lock before the season? And you're sitting here right now looking at this list like, how's their name not there?
Honestly? Yeah. And I'm not even saying this to wind you up. Tim English.
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair.
If you'd have told me that Tim English, caveat it with, if you told me Tim English does not make the All-Star and there is no injury concerns, I wouldn't have believed you. Because all the other big names are heading from last year, when you think of Bont and you think of Goulden, they were there. And then a lot of the forwards that were dominant last year, Dunkley, Butters and stuff. Dunkley's made it back in here as a midfielder, which is awesome for him. But yeah, he'd probably be the one I'd call out. Do you have a second one? I know you were more involved in the selection process than I am, so you might have thought about it a bit more.
Yep. I do. Tom Green. I can't believe that he's
Yeah,
not in the
good pick.
All-Star squad.
Good
He's
pick.
just such a good player. Look, he's turning it on now, but the fact that he didn't make this squad at the start of the season, if you told me that Tom Green wouldn't be a top, what, 6 midfielder in the competition, I would laugh at you. And now you are the one laughing if you made that call. So
Did Tom Green? He didn't make one last year, did he? So he's
he
back.
did. He
He
did.
did.
He did.
But did Walsh make one? I'm trying to look
No,
at the
Walsh
list.
has never made one, and it's
Mm-hmm.
due to injury. It's never been because he hasn't been good enough. It's because he hasn't played enough games in his seasons.
Right.
Because with this list, for context, we do total score and we do average score. So we're looking at how many times they've scored on average and how high that has been and how dominant they've been in rounds. But we're also looking over the whole season. How much would this play impact your squad if you had them as set and forget? So that's the two sort of factors that come into this, which is why Gawn and Marshall, for example, got the nod over Cherry because they're averaging about 10 more.
Yeah.
So is what it is.
I'm just looking the no Frio guys. Brayshaw and Sarong. I feel like they've been so good this year and they've missed out as well. Last
Very
question.
true.
Give you one more question.
Yeah, of course.
Who is this year's Nick Newman?
Joe Danaher.
The All-Star you do not want to pack is the Joe Danaher.
You don't want Joe Danaher.
You don't? You don't want the upside of Big Joe?
You only want him for like 2 games next year, and that's when he versus West Coast and when he versus Richmond. Otherwise, there's no way you're rolling out a Joe Danaher All-Star over any of these other players.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like I'd be comfortable with most of them. I don't know. If I packed a Luke Ryan All-Star now, I'd probably be pretty mad at
I
him.
would find some upside with other players in other matchups, but for Joe Danaher, I would struggle very hard to find much upside week in and week out.
No, fair enough. Fair enough.
Mate, let's get it moving along. We are about half an hour in. We've got a lot of games to go, and we're going to start with, I know Auntie Booger's team. She's a Geelong fan. Let's talk about the Catters versus the Crows. And you've gone Tommy Stewart. I've gone Tommy Stewart. I'm backing in my All-Star Dawson. So maybe I will start there, and then we can talk about Tom Stewart together. But I feel like my hand is almost forced to play this card. I do like the matchup, though. It's not that I don't like the matchup. Look, Geelong this season have been an easier team to play against in the mids. Over the past 5 rounds, they've ramped it up a little. But if you look at it as the whole season, I think they're a top 5 matchup overall. So I'm thinking I'm trusting in Dawson. Now, his role is what I'm most concerned about. Is Jordan Dawson going to be a midfielder? Is Jordan Dawson going to play some time in the forward line? Is he going to be in defense? I just really hope. I know that Crouch is back this week, which could throw a bit of a spanner in the works because they've got some more midfield depth now. But still, without Rankin, I'm really hoping that Dawson has a really solid midfield game. And if he stays in the midfield a lot for this game, I see him exploding and getting to that 130, 140 mark for me and being worth playing that All-Star.
Yeah, I again, first game back, you know my rule. But with Crouch coming back alongside him, I am worried about those midfield minutes and the fact that Keys has actually looked really good as well. I really don't know what role they're going to be playing for him. So I reckon there's going to be a lot of coaches that are going to be staying away from him. So it's definitely a pod, and you're backing in talent here. But I don't know. I think Geelong could win this one pretty easy, and I think he'd be in a bit of trouble. So I didn't think very long about not putting him in the squad. But in saying that, if I had an All-Star Dawson staring at me, I'd think about it.
Okay. But look, I'll tell you what, the Crows haven't won in Geelong since something like 2006. It's something silly.
Port did that, and then we got the whole Kenny doing this, don't you remember? So it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. If Ken can win there, anyone can win there. So I don't want to hear it.
Okay, fair enough. But mate, Tommy Stewart, he is probably, let's not say probably. It'd be pretty tough to say over Sheasel and over Dacos, but I think if you look at the past 3 rounds, he is the best defender in the competition right now in terms of fantasy. He's dominating.
I was going to say Whitfield enters the chat, but Stewart has been Stewart's been very good.
Into the chat.
Stewart has been very, very good, and I think that's shown. We're both playing him. Interesting, we've both only got a bronze, so I did that more because I don't want to miss out on having him, but I also don't want to do what everyone else is doing there. But I
Okay.
just think he's going to dominate. Obviously, he's got a really good matchup here this week in Adelaide. Look at that matrix. And yeah, if someone said, hey, 140 before the game, you'd absolutely snap that up with Tommy Stewart.
Can I tell you though, if I did have a higher rate, I'd actually just don't have another Tom Stewart. This is it for me.
Ooh.
So I'm starting what I have, and I can't not start him. So bronze is fine.
You have some, I don't know if it's some ethical thing or whatever. You never asked when we're on these lives, ask the community for help. I'm happy to say, hey, listen, I don't have it, but I want to play. And then I'll wake up the next day, I'll have Discord messages and I'll have people trying to help get me the players I want. You never seem to do it. Try
I
it.
want to help people.
Yeah,
I want to help people. I don't want people to help me. I feel bad.
Well, I'm happy because it means that, yeah, you're less competitive. But yeah, just something I've noticed along the 20-week season. One starts the community for a trade on air. You should try it. It's good fun.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I don't know if you want to talk about anyone else in this matchup. I know Auntie Booger wants to talk about Brian Myers. I know he's an all-star, but I'm kind of off him. Tom, do you want to talk about Brian Myers, seeing as I remember you did a video about him at one point in the season.
Yeah, he's just too up and down for me. Like, it's just not a constant stream of points. If I go over his past couple for you, 111, 61, 135, 79. I think those four numbers just tell you enough. It's just, yeah, it's too inconsistent. I just need some consistency. I'm at a point of the season where I'm about 700 points off top 10. I literally feel like I need to play. I don't think I'm going to get into the top 10 now. It was sort of going to happen a couple of weeks ago, or it wasn't.
The door was open there for a little bit.
The door was very open, but the Boston trip did not help. That's for sure.
Look what I've found for you in the chat.
Ooh.
Want to borrow a Silver Stewart. See? Anyway, sorry, Auntie Boogie. He can't. He's not allowed, apparently. He's got some ethical rule against borrowing from the community. So that's all right. He'll just have to miss out this week. Can I talk about Riley O'Brien? Because the question this week is, do you want to give him a crack against a Geelong team that didn't want to play a ruck for the last few weeks? So he's been in sneaky good form the last three, 124, 108, 124. Yep. My concern with him is just the upside. So his highest scoring game for the season was 124, and he's done that 3 times.
Ooh,
that's it. Good. That's it. So if you're playing him for a pod, you want to know that he can have a cherry type 170. And I just don't think the old Big O has that in him. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on him.
No, fair enough as well. I think it's fair. I'm going to steer clear of Myers this week, which is a bit controversial with how good he has been. But, yeah. Let's move it on, Cal. Go into game 5. We're going to talk, and this is going to be a cracker game. And unfortunately, they have done an absolute madness this weekend. They have lined up this game and the next game together. So you're going to have to pick sort of between one or the other, or go the old multi-screen, a little bit of red zone action maybe. But let's talk about this game.
If you want, because I know the next game is the Port Swans game. We're going to be watching that together, which should be a bit of fun. I can do the old Scott Hansen and commentate both games too if you want.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll put my fantasy goggles on too.
Want to come on stream? We'll get you on here. You can do it for everyone.
We'll have to see about that. This game should be a goodie. I've obviously gone Harry Mackay. I think he's coming back in, but again, concussion. I like playing Harry Mackay. He's got a good matchup here against Collingwood. Look at that. I think he will dominate. You've gone the other side on Curnow, which I'm sure we'll touch on in a second. And I actually think this is going to be a really good week for Dacos, but it just didn't fit my strategy of going with a higher card here. So I actually feel this might be a really, really good Dacos game.
It's a good matchup.
Obviously, big game. He's a big game player. I just don't know if the rest of the team gets around him. So I can see why you've gone with Newman and Walsh. But talk me through that. In particular, I want to know about Curnow, why you've gone with him over Mackay. Was it just that he looked so good against my boys last week?
It wasn't that. Curnow, speaking of big game players, Curnow is a big game player. Carlton are currently sitting 4th. They're 2 points behind the Lions, 2 points behind Freo. I just think at the MCG, the lights are going to be shining bright. And there's no one that will shine brighter than Charlie Curnow. I see him having an absolute day, kicking an absolute bag, Collingwood have struggled against really good forwards this season. Darcy Moore has not been the same player that we have seen from years on. He's not that same, he doesn't have that same grunt to him. He's just not locking forwards down. And I think Curnow is going to capitalise on this. I think Harry Mackay, in all honesty, is a safer play. But this is where I'm happy to swing the axe a little bit and go a bit of a riskier play because I think Curnow is going to have a big, big day. And another key indicator for me with Curnow is that over the past couple of weeks, he's cracked over 10 kicks 3 times. So 3 weeks straight, he's gone over 10 kicks. So his disposals numbers are going up significantly as well. So when you're getting more involved, and I know one of those games was with Harry out. The other 2, Harry went in.
Yeah. And then a pretty couple of easy games. I think one of them was against Richmond as well a few ago. So I feel like I could get 10 kicks up the ground against them. But yeah, fair. It'll be good. It'll be nice knowing that we each have a goal kicker. We're obviously not going to be watching the game. We might flick it on between the ads depending on how they line up, but nice to have a different one. You've got Newman, who has lost his All-Star status this season. Probably the community would probably be happy with that. No one wants to pull a Nick Newman All-Star. I think we had to put him in last year because he was so damn good, but we knew he wouldn't be wanted much more after the start of it. But you've put him in your squad.
I have. I think this is a Newman game as well. I think there's a lot of fantasy points in this game. Firstly, as you can see, there's a lot of green matchups. There's a lot of green matchups. There are areas of weakness for both teams that are going to be capitalized on by each team and by the players. And it's going to be a fast-moving game. Both of these teams like to move the ball really quickly, and there's going to be so many possessions. And I just think when you have 2 teams with these type of play styles going head-to-head, it just screams fantasy tons. I just think a lot of people are going to play good, hence why I've got 4 people in this game in particular. Newman was the last one that I added into this. I didn't love a lot of the defender matchups elsewhere, and I did think this was a great matchup against Collingwood, being the second best over the past 5 and one of the best over the season. So for me, I'm putting my faith in Newman. I think he's going to have a good game, and I'm putting my faith into Walsh as well. Collingwood have really struggled to defend against midfielders, and with a Carlton midfield being so dominant, and they have their ruck back this week, if I'm not mistaken, in De Koning.
He was there last week. Oh no, it's Pinnett, and of course De Koning's not back. He's out for.
He's not back though. Oh no, goodness.
No, he's sorry. Yeah, because they were pinch hitting last week because they had Mackay. So yeah, no, he's not back.
Spewing. Either way.
No. Darcy Cameron, sneaky, been pretty good the last few weeks. Maybe
he has been actually really good.
Do you want him to be your pod ruckman?
No, thank you.
Now, I'll be honest. Listen, I did like a couple of these matchups. I actually was on the fence about a couple of them. One being Sam Walsh, but ultimately I went. You know what? You know what the tiebreaker was?
Hit me.
The fact that I'm not going to be watching the game.
That's so fair as well.
That was literally 50-50 call between Walsh and one of my other players, and I've gone the other player because I'll get to watch the game. I couldn't split them, so yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, I hear.
That's the logic behind it.
Absolutely, and that's fair enough. But mate, I think it's going to be a fantastic game. The lights are going to be shining bright at the MCG, and the stars are going to step up. That is for sure. Anyone you want to talk about?
No, go to the next one. Because this is the real game we want to talk about. Not from a fantasy point of view, because from a fantasy point of view, look at the red in that. This is not a game for fantasy players. But look at that. Lash up all around.
What's going on? Let me think about it. Hold up. Let me just get it up for you.
I can see where you're going with this. Yeah.
See that right there? See 56, 56, 50. 50, 48, 48. That's a 1.5 game difference, just so you know, between them. But all right. Talk about the Reds. Yeah, look, we won a lot of games, and now we've lost a couple, but we've had some players injured. Not that no one else deals with injuries, don't get me wrong, and we should have probably won a couple of those games. But I just think when all the boys come back together, it's going to be fine. We're going to kick our stride again. And if there's a time to have a lull period for us, we've picked a pretty good time to have it.
Well, just a reminder that you're only 2 games above us and we don't want our coach. So
You want your coach.
You
You.
know what? You'll be hearing that I want him on Saturday night if we win. Let's actually talk about this game. Let's start with someone I've left out who would have been crazy to think leaving.
Great pickup, Auntie Booger. How has he done this? What is he doing?
Look at the matchup. And I know he's a forward in the game. He's a midfielder. I don't want him. I don't think Heaney's going to suit the bright lights of Adelaide Oval. I think the Portress is going to be a bit too much for him. I think his season now is a bit, he was playing so well. I reckon that Brownlow, losing that, it's just got him. So Heaney's not the player he was at the start of the season, and I'm going for a bit of a zag with him. And it will be nice watching his downfall on Saturday. And I've got other forwards in there. And no need for that. Take that off. We do not need any of that. Get it?
Yeah. But okay, I hear you. But I think that's silly. That is outrageous to not play Heaney. If anything, I think it's going to add more fuel to his fire. He's going to be absolutely livid that he was suspended, that he has no chance of winning the Brownlow. But mate, I want to talk about the fact that you've not only left out Heaney, you've left out Goulden.
Yeah, another big name. I was waiting for dumped Goulden as well. I'll be honest, I had him in my squad for a long time there, and I did a late swap for him.
Yep.
And it's the matchup again. I don't really want to play anyone in the midfield in this matchup, which is no surprise there. But I've got the Connor Rosie who I have to ride and die with. If I'm going to have any chance of a win this season, it's going to be off the back of Connor. But I just hate this game from a matchup perspective in the middle. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be a very fantasy friendly one. Despite there being really good players, I just can't pick them. So I've got two people actually really left the field. I've gone Kane Farrell instead of Dan Houston because you watch. I know how much the Swans love missing goals, and Kane Farrell's just going to sit and take every kick in you guys give him. And I think Port actually pretty soft in the ruck. I don't think that ninth does us any justice. I think Brody Grundy is going to dominate in the middle, and I think he could actually be in for a huge, huge week. So
yep.
Couple of pods. Kane Farrell. I haven't played him all season in my classic squad. I own more Kane Farrell cards than anyone else in this game. I can assure you of that. And I'm finally going to deploy one in my classic squad.
Nice. Well, I'm going to say the C-man on our Discord and currently winning the classic competition for the season. He would say, and he would agree with me, matchup proof, Errol Goulden. Don't listen to the numbers. Don't look at any of those numbers that are up there. 20 kicks a game. Yes, sir. Yes, please. Straight in my lineup. So I'm not too worried about that. I do agree with the Grundy take, though. If you want to zag a little bit this round with, Rowan Marshall, Gawn, Cherry, probably the premium options coaches will look at. Grundy's got a fantastic matchup here in Port Adelaide. That number definitely doesn't do it justice, as you mentioned. You have gone off the past 5. If you go off the season, Port are a top 3 matchup, in my understanding, for ruck. So it is screaming a big Grundy game.
And you know what? That's sneaky in there as well. Port Adelaide were recruiting to get Brody Grundy. He toured the facilities. It was a done deal. And then he met Ken and decided, no, I don't want to come here. So, and then he went to the Swans, who are obviously flying or have been flying before that form you can see there. So, he's going to go to the place that he could have gone. Geez, I would have loved to have had him. So, yeah, there's that is on the line as well. So it's a little bit more than just a regular game for Brody Grundy. So, yeah.
And the midfield matchup is actually quite tough in this. And I think that's why none of us have gone Zach Butters. Zach Butters is the second highest averaging player in this one. But I know you've gone Rosie because he's your prize card and it's probably pulled your leg and you're just going to trust him anyway. Mm-hmm. But I reckon if you could go off matchups and there was no prize card involved, I have a feeling Rosie might hit the pine for you this round.
Yeah, definitely. I reckon he would have hit the pine about 10 weeks ago when he did his hamstring. the first time. Time.
It's not even his fault.
How about this? How about don't play people who tear their hamstrings?
It's true. It's a good strategy when you're managing a football team, I must say. Don't play injured players. It is a pretty good one. Mate, let's get into this one. And before Tom claims I cheated. He cheated. He definitely did.
I put these together and I went, you know what? I did my slides after you and I went, you're just going to sit here and say, claim I cheated. I didn't. I knew the 3 players I wanted.
Yeah.
So
who else does this? Do you guys have a mate in fantasy that just copies everything you do just a week or two late?
It's 7 games into the round and we have the exact same pairing. 1-7. Come on. What are you doing, man? Let's talk about Dylan Moore because I really like him in this matchup, even though the matchup matrix says it's not a fantastic one for the Giants, but he's in such a good run of form at the moment that he doesn't show up on those top 5 players, unfortunately, because it wigs out. He keeps grouping him with Darcy Moore the way we've got it. I know he's in this one. Sorry, I couldn't see him there. That's the review show we used to do. We always excluded Dylan Moore. But as a forward, he's putting up midfield type numbers. So I really like him. I love that upside for him. I think the Hawks are flying at the moment. And I think the Giants can be prone to giving up a big score. So, but no surprise with that. You're obviously playing him as well.
Yeah, 100%. It's a tough matchup, but he's playing in the midfield. I really liked his form, and I just think you got to start him. They've listed him on the wing, but look, I wouldn't look too much into where he's lined up. We know what he's going to play when he gets on there. He's a good inside player, and he's also going to go forward. And hopefully, if you can kick a goal or two, I think that'll be the difference between having an average week to him having a really good week and being worth starting him in your best 22. But I want to talk about, on the topic of forwards, the GWS forwards have finally hit some form. Brent Daniels, Toby Green, they had a fantastic week last week. And look, there hasn't been many of them.
You can't quit the resurgence of Toby Green. You want him to bounce back so bad. I know he's gone 120 plus in 2 of his last 3 games, but do you know how many times for the rest of the season outside of that he's gone 120? 2 times.
We're talking about the rest of the season. We're talking about round 21.
You keep trying to talk Toby Green into being the player he was last year. He's not that guy.
I didn't say have I started it. I'm just saying there's a conversation.
You love him. You're a massive Toby Green fan because you know every time he plays the Swans, he gives them the business, and you just wish he was in Swans colours, and you can't stand him being across the other side of the bridge.
Mate,
but it's a big time love-hate relationship.
2-0 against the Giants. Toby Green, 2.
Can we talk about the other Green, the Green that we're actually playing?
Yes, we can talk about Tom Green because he, as I said, is one of the biggest, what I thought at the start of the year, locks for the All-Star squad, and he's back. He's finally back.
He is back almost a point away from being 4 scores over 125. So he's finally hit that form. And do you know what's causing it?
Tell me.
He's learned how to kick the football. He's learned
don't say that.
Just have the handball.
Come out and get 25 handballs and 5 kicks.
It's amazing. And he's actually getting involved in tackles too, which just takes his game to the next level as well, because he's not normally a big tackling machine. Hasn't been, but when he's averaging 5, that's fantastic. He can fill up that box score like big dunks. I think he's fantastic. I've actually picked him over Walsh. He was the midfielder I was tossing up. That was the head-to-head matchup. I'm like, do I pick Walsh? Do I pick Green? I'm picking Green because I'm actually going to sit down and watch this game, and I'm going to want to have a horse in that. So that's why I've gone that one. And then Lockie Whitfield, obviously a pretty good matchup and in some incredible form. Look at that chart. 157 over the last 5 is insane. Insane.
Yeah, he's just built different.
Could he finish the highest scoring player for the year? Or is it too far? Too far of a gap. Not enough runway left.
I don't think there's enough runway left, but he would get close. He's going to get close. He'd be top 5, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But, mate, I want to talk about Brent Daniels because I think he's a really sneaky pod for people this round. If I go over his past couple games, 134, 111, 71, 139. That's 3 out of his past 4 over 100. And if you're looking at a play where it's like, just let's go all in on someone, no one's going to start him, or not many will, because he is a massive pod. A massive, massive pod. Daniels could be the guy to put into your squad for this round.
Yeah, I don't hate it. He has been in good form. I can say it didn't cross my mind. And I also never had on my bingo card for this season, let's talk about Brent Daniels. I did not think that was a statement that would be ushered on the pod, but hey, it has happened, and you know what? He probably deserves it. He probably deserves it because he's knocking on the door. The issue for me with him is what's the upside? Like what's going big for him? The 134 that he had last week, is that it?
That's the upside right there.
Yeah.
The upside is cracking triple digits, in my opinion, in a round where
Because he's
Kings,
got 111, 108, and 102 as like some good scores. But if you're going to be going outside of the main group, you want to know someone
yeah,
that can go maybe a 140 or a 150, kind of like a Kerner, right? You know, Kerner can kick a bunch and go to 140. I'd be looking to go someone over him. But that's just me. I like the goals. Obviously, we give 8 points here at GDS for a goal. So I like a player that can kick more than 2 goals and call it a bag.
yeah, I agree, mate. One player that neither of us have played is James Sicily, who has been in some end of season form himself.
Mm-hmm.
He look, I just think for me it's a matchup thing, and there are so many good defenders to pick from this round that it got a little bit tight at the end there. Sicily was definitely a contender, and maybe a mistake that I will make in picking my best 7 defenders. But I was pretty happy to give the nod to the likes of Newman and someone like Tom Stewart over, and Ed Richards at that, over Sicily. It sort of comes down to those players for me, because Whitfield, Dacos, and Sheezer were all locks. There was no way they were coming out of my squad. So it could only be between the other players I mentioned. And yeah, I was pretty happy to make the call on that one.
I'm just saying shush on Daniels. Sorry, we're giving away Auntie Booger's secrets. Sicily, yeah, for me, because he's such a boom and bust player, which we're, if you like the term boom and bust, I think we're going to have something pretty exciting stolen from NFL fantasy world for our women's Aussie rules world. Hey, Tom. But
it's a game changer.
It's pretty good. And what it says for Sicily, or what it would say for Sicily, is this guy is a big boom or bust player. So you got to get the matchups right for it. And for me, this is not the matchup that is going to allow him to boom. So he's capable of it. But for me, look at that. Last 5 rounds, the worst matchup for defenders. So I'm steering clear of it. And so are you. And I reckon most people will.
Yep. Alrighty, man. I reckon we covered this game quite well. Let's get on to the second last game. And wow, the big Brayshaw.
Yeah, I did this because I just wanted to let you know, even though Brayshaw and Caldwell's averages are so close over the last 5 rounds, what are we doing? Brayshaw is so much better player than Caldwell. And I wanted the cards on the screen to just make sure that everyone knew that was the case, because I've gone to Platinum Brayshaw this week, who is my only player I've played above Silver, not including the All-Star. I think he's in for an awesome matchup here. I think Essendon, again, the same sort of thing as Gold Coast. I think they're in absolute shambles, and I think Brayshaw is going to feast. So I've swapped from the Sarong to Brayshaw. I'm on that tail end, that win that he's got, and I actually think he's going to run it home and have an awesome, awesome game. I think he's going to be the highest scoring player for the round, is my sneaky tip, and why I've gone with the Platinum.
Okay. Well, firstly, Caldwell's a forward, and he would be actually much higher ranked than Brayshaw in his position. So I don't want to hear the slander from
Hey,
Caldwell.
I'm just saying the Brayshaw card looks about 5 times bigger than the Caldwell card, and for good reason.
Is it though? I mean, it's a little bit disappointing later, but you know what? He's definitely hit his stride now. We spoke about how he likes to get it going towards the tail end of the year, and Brayshaw is fully back. I like the play. I like the fact you're loading up on him. I personally just won't be this round. I think Essendon's midfield is finally coming together. You know, it's looking a little bit sharper. They've got some players back off injury. And look, not that they're elite, but they just have a stacked midfield. It's a good midfield that will put in work.
What about poor Darcy Parish coming back into what that was shambolic against St Kilda? The poor man, he's been out, that he comes back into that. Crazy. We've got 2 All-Stars in this game in the midfield, in Nick Martin and Zachy Merritt. And we're not playing either of them.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
It's pretty crazy.
We've gone with Brayshaw. So, yeah, there's a few players in here that are actually pretty fantasy relevant as well. We could talk about the Freo defenders. Again, I could make the case for maybe playing someone like Jordan Clark. But I think you can see Luke Ryan, crazy to think last 5, he's averaging 100. And he was an absolute lock for the first 10 rounds. And then he's just disappeared. He's gone.
He's honestly lucky he started so well. That's why he got an All-Star.
If
he didn't start off that well, he would be in the conversation for slipping out and potentially someone coming over the top.
If I had my way, I would ban Luke Ryan All-Star cards, because they would just disappoint owners. They'll look good and all shiny when you first get them. They'll say they'll get all the cheap kicks for you, and then they'll just disappear halfway through the season. Anyone else you like in this matchup?
I don't like many other players in this matchup, hence why I've made the decisions with my squad here. I do think these sort of teams are going to neutralise each other a little bit. The rucks, you're not going to pick either ruckman. You can see the green there, but I'm not going in on either ruckman in this matchup. Personally, I'm
Where's Goldie
steering
when you need him?
so clear from this one. I can't lie; it's not even a consideration for me.
Ooh,
But
that's such a shame because Sean Darcy 2 years ago was genuinely being talked about as the next big ruckman, and then he gets what's his name, Jackson, beside him, and he's
yeah,
just fallen off that dynasty cliff. I'd love to know when we get to the end of the season what those dynasty rankings are. You're probably I'd love for you to put something together where your season end dynasty rankings are, and sort of compare that at the start of next year and then again at the end of next year. Could be a bit of fun.
that'd be great
Because
fun.
you have a player like Sean Darcy who would have been right up there, maybe even one or two. He's completely fallen off the board. But yeah, no one else in this game I want to talk about, unless you want to talk about Xavier Dersma and how Port, even though they traded him away, won the trade.
No, mate. I don't want to talk about that. Yeah, look, Freo defenders. I just am steering clear. But I will say this: if you're going to pick one, in my opinion, go with Hayden Young. I think Hayden Young has a little bit more upside than Ryan and Clark, and because he's going to get the midfield role, and that if you're going to take a little bit of a risk with a player like that, Hayden Young is the guy that I would be looking at personally between the three, what you could call stars down back for Freo.
Yeah, fair. What's the last game?
Right, mate. Let's get into the last one. It is the Saints versus the Lions. And no Rowan Marshall. This is an L for English game, but then is it? Because you didn't start him. What's going on there?
I've played Grundy. Got Grundy and Gorn, the big
True.
boys. So again, I don't like rucks against the Big O. The Big O, look at that. Even without looking at the numbers, if you've just been watching the footy this year, the Big O is just a neutralizing beast. Just doesn't let you have a good day, and has his best day of his life against Port Adelaide.
Yep.
I don't like it. Excuse me, I don't like that. Zorko, I don't even want to talk about. He's an all-star. Congrats, you're a grand player and everyone's squad. I've gone Dunkley this week because I do like the matchup for them, and I was picking between Neil and Dunkley, and you can see they've got such a close average over the last couple there.
They do. They truly do.
But for me, it's just that upside of Dunkley, because if I'm the roster boss and I want to shut someone down, I'm going to try and do it to Neil. So I just think Dunkley gets a bit of a longer leash, and that's better for fantasy. But outside of that, it's a pretty gross matchup, and I won't be super excited when this one comes on. I'll just be waiting for the round to finish, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to trust in Zorko because Zorko is set and forget, and there just should not be. There's no reason to not start Zorko at this point. And I'm going Marshall. I hear what you say about the Big O, but I'm trusting that Rowan Marshall is the hottest ruckman in the competition. 148.8 or 0.4 average over the past 5. Just that speaks volumes to me. He's had such a stellar year. He's an all-star, and I'm just backing him in with class and that forward ability to push forward. He's going to work Big O all day and hopefully get over the top of him towards the tail end of the game.
Yeah, the Big O. Work the Big O. Last question for you before we can move on for this one. Very quickly, just for when Skip jumps on and watches this back. Wanganeen Miller or Sinclair?
What am I? 1 from 21.
1 from 21. He's just going to play the opposite card.
Yeah. So, Skip, first of all, hopefully you haven't been following and you've been switching, like Cal has said, as of 10 weeks ago, to not trust me. And I even said it myself. But I'm going to say this is a Wanganeen Miller game. And I'm confident in that one. He's going to come out on top. So
there you go. Play Sinclair.
Play Sinclair. Exactly right. Mate, let's go the full teams. And it's in its complete state. And there you can see, Cal, you've loaded up on some salary cap, some players. You've got a couple silvers, and then...
Was I right in saying it's a bit of a weird squad when you look at it like that?
Yeah.
I felt weird about it.
The defense is strange to have. Like Ed Richards, I get, but you got Ed Richards, Kane Farrell, and Dan Brioli legacy game. That's a little weird.
I've accidentally swapped my screen there. I've jumped the gun too early as you were looking at that. I don't know how you swap that back. You do your magic. Oh,
Oh,
there you go.
there we go. Here's my squad quickly before we get into that. I'm sure if you just saw then what we had available. Kerno, probably one of the bigger pods. One of my first times starting him this year in this one. And yeah, mate, we have the All-Stars.
Oh, how did Grind
All-Star
Myers get
packs.
on there? Jeez, I don't know how he was the face of
Or Auntie Booger. I went through. I was like, you know what? Honey Booger's here. Let's get Grind Myers All-Star there so we can celebrate together for his great year he's had. So that one's for you,
It's a
Auntie.
great year he's had. Oh, I love it. You jumped the gun when these launched last night, and you actually decided you'd open a few yourself. I have
Yep.
not yet. So this is going to be my first one. We're opening it on mine. I promise I'll send them to you unless there's someone good, then I won't send them to you.
Okay.
But I'll let you go first. This can be your one, all right?
You want me to go first? I'll go
Oh.
first. I'm happy
You go.
to.
You go first.
Okay.
The first pack's never the best. It's always
That's
the
what
second
they
one.
are. Can you hover over slow? What was that bottom?
I don't know. Did that flip?
No.
Oh, that looked like it flipped. The corner of my eye. A couple of golds, a couple of silvers.
No. No All-Star.
Oh, the wrong Rioli.
The wrong Rioli.
The wrong St Kilda player. The wrong Lion. Jeez, I'm glad.
Can we just go through this quickly, please?
The wrong McGovern too. Oh, playable.
Dale.
Oh.
Noble. Oh goodness. Goldstein, come back. Legacy game.
Ready, drum roll. Oh,
I'll take that.
Sneaky platinum. I didn't even know it was a plat. There you go.
I'll tell you what, you can keep everyone else, but that Dale and Walsh, I'll happily get those.
Oh, lovely. All right. Congratulations. Let's see if I can
Mate,
hunt an all-star.
that's not much of a congratulations. You know what we really want in this, and I am really hoping for nothing but the best here, Cal. Open it up. Good vibes, good energy. All-Stars are here.
My first one. Here we go.
If you get it on your first, I'll be absolutely livid.
All right. No.
You got to hover over. We got to see.
Oh.
Oh.
Is there?
Oh. Okay. So how do you know? Is it's like half? It's like half golden.
Does it actually do that? I should know this.
A black trim on the outside.
I really should know this. Oh, there you go. Good.
Yes, absolutely, Jimby.
Good.
Yeah.
Not good. Oh, I'm disappointed. I wanted to accidentally flip over an all-star, but I didn't know that they looked like that.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have spoiled it for you, but at least you would have been disappointed, I guess, in the end. So maybe I helped you.
Listen, not the packs we wanted, but you know what we have done?
What have we done?
We've made the odds better for everyone else. So
we have.
So you're welcome, everyone. But yeah, no good for us. We'll have to go away and try. You watch. Maybe I'll get onto our show next week, and I might have a few more. And you'll be like, "Why did Callum do so good?"
Yeah, absolutely.
Trelaw All-Star.
Trelaw All-Star. Yeah, get them all. Mate, next show. We're doing preview shows from now on for the remainder of the year. We'll be back next week to talk about round 22, look at all the matchups, the big ins, the big outs, and look at the matchup data and help you set your winning squads. And the big O's as well, of course. You can't forget the big O's. And I'll tell you this, Swans are going to win this weekend, and we're going to go in with the big
Hey, mate, just remember, I want the Swans to win too. I don't want Port to win. Just remember that.
No, you do not. Are you ready? Look at all those beautiful, beautiful cards. And here you can see some of the
boys who didn't make it.
Maybe the ones that didn't make
Bradley Hill. He was in the what do they call it? Like the All Australian squad before it gets cut into the final team.
He was in the extended squad, and
the extended squad. Bradley Hill, what could have been? Cherry was in there. Show that to the community.
This is Rankin. What could have been if he didn't get suspended?
Oh,
could have been.
Did English get one mocked up just in case? Did you just ask for in case something fell through? You wanted an English one mocked up?
Yeah, I think it was mocked up, but
you've got one just to put under the pillow just for yourself.
Yeah, I printed it out just for me. Right, everyone, that's going to wrap us up for another episode. Let us know in the Discord if you want to put any last-minute questions, last-minute matchup decisions. Of course, we'll answer them, but that'll do us for now. And until next time, we'll see you next week, and good luck. If you're going to open some All-Star packs, wish nothing but the best and share it with us if you pull one and you're better than me because I tried last night. I tried again today. I could not. Cal opened the one, could not, but maybe you. I'm sending you all my luck. All right, there you go.